All right, here we go, man. As promised, a Georgia versus Alabama prediction video, man. So who I'm picking, who's coming on top. I had to make this a separate video with two elite teams. Could potentially be the game of the year. Lot to watch for in this one. I'm gonna point everything out and pick who I have coming out on top. First off, a little bit of history, man. Obviously, Kirby Smart's in his ninth season has won 2 national championships. All-time series, actually, Bama leads 43-26. And also they have 4 ties, 5-1 college football playoff record. As you guys can see with Georgia, college football appearances, 2017, 2021, 2022. They did not make it last year as well. But Alabama holds the edge in this series. As you guys can see here, 968 all-time wins. Second in the FBS ever. Bowl record, 46-28-3. Over 500. 8 college football playoff appearances. As you guys can see here, 2021, 2020, 2021, 2023. College football playoff record 9-5, all those SEC championships, yada, 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 get it. But those are from my historians. The key is going to be Kalen DeBoer. This is the first year of him as the head coach. Now, he's done an outstanding job with his recruiting class for 2025, has some elite linebackers coming in, also some elite defensive players. I know they're pushing hard for Justice Terry in this recruiting class as well. He has done an outstanding job recruiting. This is the biggest game, though, for them. You know what I'm saying? Because this is going to say, is Alabama still really Alabama, right? And we know how good of a coach he is. I think he's 5-0, 5-1. I think against ranked opponents, I believe. But overall, man, he's led his team last year, Washington, to the college football national championship. College football playoff national championship. He has his team rolling this year. They struggled a little bit against South Florida, but this offense is elite. It's one of the best ones you're probably going to see, besides maybe Tennessee. You could throw in there, and probably Ole Miss, who is struggling a little bit right now. But nonetheless, this is a very, very good coach. So that's everybody's question. Is Alabama still Alabama, right? And this is his toughest test. But the good thing is you're at home, right? You're going to have that home rocking environment. You got a lot of playmakers who we'll talk about here in a second, but you got a really, really, really good team. So can he live up to the test? Next, everybody's been talking about Jalen Milroe, right? How much has he improved as a passer? And I think we've seen it, right? Everybody was like, oh, well, he was just an athlete playing quarterback last year. Everybody see he has an elite arm talent. He can throw the ball down the field, can chunk it, right? He's making the elite plays. If it's not there, he's running, using his lasers and dual threat ability, and then he's hitting all of his receivers. So I think he's been phenomenal this year. I think you could put him as a Heisman finalist currently right now. Obviously, still a lot of season left to go, but he's been elite, and he can really help his stock in this game if he has a big one. The key for Jalen Milroe, can he make the shot plays downfield, right? Can he hit a Ryan Williams, right, when they're stacking that box Georgia potentially? Can they make Georgia give up big plays? A defense that's not prone to doing that, can he do it in this one? We're going to find out, but I believe in Jalen Milroe. On the Georgia side, Kirby Smart, he overcame the monster. I think it was in 2021 college football playoff, beating Alabama, right? It might have been earlier. Y'all know what I mean, though. They played the national championship. They finally got over the hump. Now, if you want to establish, obviously Georgia's one of the powers in the SEC, one of the best teams in the country, but you want to continue to establish yourself as the standard, is going in there in the hostile environment and beating Bama. It's just going to resonate so much with recruits. That's why this game is so big, too. Over 100-plus recruits at this game that's trying to go decide where they're going next year. So, it's imperative for Kirby to come out here with a good start, making sure that, obviously his team will get blown out the frame, but I doubt happens. I think it's going to be a competitive game back and forth, but a really big game for Kirby. Obviously, he's a national championship winning coach, just got a pay raise. So, definitely if you lose, job's not in jeopardy. Never that. But I'm just saying, it's still a massive game to show that, hey, Georgia, we still competitive. We can still battle with Alabama. So, very crucial there. All right, and then Carson Beck, same thing. As I mentioned with Jalen Milroe, can he hit the shot plays down the field? We are going to find out. A young secondary with Alabama, but starting to mature, starting to grow. But the thing with Beck is, can he hit the intermediate to deep balls? That's been the biggest question. Now, a lot of people have him as the number one quarterback prospect in this 2025 upcoming NFL draft. He can do a lot for himself going forward in the draft and making sure he's the first one off the board. But you got to perform against an elite defense. And again, like I said, both of these defenses are elite. They're top 5 in FBS rating defensively in points per game. I think Georgia maybe gives up like 5. I think Alabama gives up maybe 7. They're both in the top 10 when it comes to those categories. So you got elite defenses. So it's not going to be easy. They're going to obviously both defenses are going to try to stop the run and make these quarterbacks beat them with their arms. That's going to be crucial. You're probably going to see it a lot of blitzes and things like that. But can he make the plays down the field? they're not going to have a lot of their weapons. So they're going to need some guys to step up. And I'm going to point those guys out for Georgia real quick. All right, so Trevor Etienne, right, obviously missed the first game of the season, got suspended. Trevor Etienne and Nate Frazier are going to have big games for Georgia if they're going to have a chance to win. Other playmakers, Dominic Lovett, Arian Smith is another one, Dylan Bell. There's no London Humphreys in this game, so they're going to need those guys to step up and hit those big plays as well. And last but not least, the top two tight ends, Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky. They got to win in the intermediate range for Georgia if they're going to have a chance to come out on top. Because, like I said, Alabama's going to try to take away that deep ball. They got to make sure they strike. They got to make sure they make big plays when the opportunity permits and is there. So those are some of the keys that you guys can see. Alabama is favored 65% as compared to Georgia, who has obviously a little bit less than a 35% chance of winning. But I think it's going to be an elite game. It's going to tell us a lot about both programs and both teams. I think for Bama, we were talking about Milroe, that rushing attack right here with Miller and also Justice Haynes. It's very imperative that they use this, very imperative that they try to be able to run. And it's hard to run against Georgia. It is hard to run against Georgia. This is not an easy feat. So I think both quarterbacks got to be patient. Take what the defense give you. You're probably not going to always have big plays, but if you could stay patient and capitalize on the opportunities there, you got a good shot. Nonetheless, though, I'm going with Alabama, a close win. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be late in the game. Jalen Rose is going to have the ball. They're going to be down 3 or 4. They're going to go down the field, less than 2 minutes in the game, throw a game-winning touchdown. Alabama survives. Georgia's scared. They move on to 4-0 in college football, obviously, and then they help their SEC record as well. So I'm going with the Crimson Tide in this one. I think they're going to have just a little bit enough in order to be able to come out on top. And I believe in this kid right here, Ryan Williams, only 17 years old. I think he's going to have some big plays in this game. He is a big, deep, down-the-field threat for the Crimson Tide. So I think he's going to have a big game. I think it's going to be tough to stop. Like I said, when they load against the run, if Bama can have success, maybe 3-4 yards of carry with Miller and Justice Hayes, this guy could take the top off the defense. You need an elite, deep threat to beat this Georgia team and to have success against their defense. That's how elite it is. They have that with this young kid that's only 17 years old. I really believe in him, and he's been tearing it up from Saraland. Hey, they haven't had no answer from all season. He tore up Wisconsin. This kid has a game every single time, man. So appreciate y'all tuning in. That's my Georgia versus Alabama prediction and breakdown. My thoughts, keys for both teams, what both quarterbacks need to do, and what they need to do to come out with a win, man. But I will have a full reaction. I will be just about finished up with all my appearances and things like that, and the work that I have to do. Scouting, obviously, with Georgia Tech, Duke and UNC play, so I got to watch that game to do scouts and articles and videos on that. But I will have a full reaction to this game after it is over and give my thoughts on who comes out on top. See who comes out on top, see if I was right or wrong, and then obviously give you guys the full breakdown of the game and my key thoughts and keys of who came out on top, man. But y'all comment below, Bama or Georgia, who you rolling with?